This tax exemption eludes me like a gazelle eludes an arthritic cat.
Why can't Canby people keep track of their dogs? Like, what is...
To do that, you can't be stupid with guns.
Yeah.
That the board is saying they want to make Canby schools great again.
It feels like we've been doing this interview for years.
Inside of me was screaming.
You run for school board, you win or you die.
There's no second place. Welcome to the Canby Now podcast.
We are the best and easiest way to stay connected to what's happening in your hometown. I'm Tyler Franke.
I'm Joyce Struby.
And I'm Tyler Clausen.
The mayor of Aurora has resigned 9 months into her first term amid allegations by the city's recorder that she harassed him while on paternity leave in August and had created what could likely be considered a hostile work environment over the past several years. Aurora Mayor Chris Sept resigned from office September 11th in a terse one-sentence letter addressed to all concerned. Due to the escalating lack of communication and cooperation with the city council and city staff, I do hereby resign my position as mayor of Aurora, effective immediately. Sept confirmed her decision later that day in a Facebook message, but declined to comment further. City Recorder Scott Jorgensen detailed his complaints against the mayor in a much lengthier letter to councilors, in which he said he had begun the process of filing a formal complaint against Sept with the Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries. One incident Jorgensen described was a heated phone conversation that occurred between him and the mayor on August 8th, 3 days after his daughter's birth. Mayor Sept continued to badger me to the point where my wife could hear it from the other room, even though this conversation was not on speakerphone, Jorgensen wrote. My wife walked over, grabbed the phone out of my hand, and reminded Mayor Sept that I was on leave. She was recovering from childbirth, and that the mayor needed to let me be with my family. Jorgensen returned to work less than a week later on August 14th. On August 22nd, he claims Sept staged another confrontation, quote, under the guise of doing our regular update. He says the mayor then told him the meeting would actually be a performance evaluation and asked him to sign a prepared statement admitting that he had failed to perform his duties. Jorgensen then left the meeting saying he would not continue without another counselor present. In the letter, he expressed his belief that the meeting had been an attempted retaliation for the August 8th phone conversation. The remainder of Jorgensen's letter details several other occasions that he felt demonstrated Sept's inability to work constructively with city staff. These included incidents involving Jorgensen's predecessor, 2 public works superintendents, and the city's former contract deputy from the Marion County Sheriff's Office, Mike Bell. Jorgensen believes the evidence demonstrates Sept acting unilaterally and beyond her authority, and therefore may have been putting the city of Aurora at legal risk. Reached at City Hall Thursday morning, Jorgensen gave a brief statement thanking Sept for her many years of service to the citizens of the community as mayor, as city councilor, and as a member of the Planning Commission and Budget Committee. He also said he does not plan to take further action on the Boley complaint, feeling the issue has been resolved.
The news of Mayor Sept's abrupt resignation rippled through the small, tightly knit community of Aurora last week. In Facebook discussions of the news, some Aurorians simply refused to believe the picture presented by City Recorder Scott Jorgensen. "This is terrible news for our little town," one resident said. "I think Chris puts her heart and soul into trying to do a good job for our community. Also, I'd love to hear Chris's side of the story. When it comes to harassing the city recorder, I personally don't believe it." Others found the evidence rather persuasive. Reading the latest agenda, the attached complaint from the recorder to the council, and the attachments, it appears as though there were adequate grounds for the complaint, another resident said. The mayor resigning without a fight, unfortunately, makes it appear as if it's all too true. I, too, am disappointed, as she could have been the change that this city and the council needs. Tom Potter, who unsuccessfully ran for city council last November when Sept was elected mayor, said he thought her intentions were good. From my experience in attending council meetings beginning 5 years ago, Chris has attempted repeatedly to get the council to make significant positive change for the benefit of the city, he said. It has been one of her goals as mayor to hold the council accountable to the needs and interests of the citizens of Aurora, and in my opinion, she has taken the appropriate steps in her efforts to accomplish this. Many were just sad that things turned out the way that they did. "Sorry to hear this," Aurora resident Byron Shiver said. "Thank you, Chris, for all your hard work for the city of Aurora." The remaining 4 members of the Aurora City Council met in an emergency session Thursday night. Solis' resignation was accepted unanimously, and the board also voted to post her position as vacant. Applications to fill the remaining 15 months of her term will be accepted through September 30th. The council will review the applications and appoint Solis' replacement at their next regular meeting on October 8th. Councilors also plan to meet in executive session on September 16th with City Attorney Sarah Kendrick present.
Candidate filing for the May 19, 2020 primary election just opened Thursday, but already one incumbent and a couple new hopefuls have filed. Open Clackamas County offices included the chair seat on the Board of Commissioners, currently held by Jim Bernard, along with the number 3 seat held by Martha Schrader, and the number 4 seat occupied by Ken Humberston. Schrader was the first, and so far only, to file for her seat and is seeking another term. She has been in her current position since 2013, but has previously served on the commission from 2003 to 2009, including a 2-year stint as chair. From 2009 to 2011, she served as a state senator representing District 20, which includes Canby. As she had previously announced, former Clackamas County Commissioner Tootie Smith has filed for board chair, seeking another return to the body she unsuccessfully campaigned for in 2016 when she lost to Humberston in the position 4 race. In a press release, Smith revealed she disagreed with the commissioner's decision to enact a county-wide vehicle registration fee without voter approval, when voters had previously rejected local transportation taxes and fees numerous times. Smith has stated that voters are fed up and demand better from their elected officials. Smith says she aims to bring a simpler solution that will cost taxpayers a fraction of current spending while balancing budgets. Smith is also a former member of the Oregon legislature, having served 2 terms as a Republican member of the Oregon House of Representatives from 2000 to 2004. She was elected to the Clackamas County Commission in 2012, but left 2 years later to unsuccessfully challenge U.S. Representative Kurt Schrader. Another newcomer was the first to file for Humberston's seat in position 4, as Malala resident Brianna Sagdahl has thrown her hat into the ring. Sagdahl has never held elective office before, but cites experience in the state capitol as an advocate for family rights, medical freedom, and freedom of choice. She has also worked to bring light to foster care abuses, due process violations, and child trafficking. She is also a business owner and longtime horse trainer, and her platform includes the promise to fight for private land ownership, water rights, grazing rights, and small business in Clackamas County. Like Smith, Sagdahl takes issue with the current direction of the county's leadership. It's time that the commissioner represent residents of Clackamas County instead of special interests, Sagdahl said in a statement. She concluded, from the vehicle registration fee rejected by voters and the recent cuts to the public safety budget, it's past time to make the people who govern Clackamas County accountable for those who live, work, and do business here, end quote. State Representative Bill Post has called for Governor Kate Brown to rescind the appointment of her former top attorney, Misha Isaac, to a seat on the Oregon Court of Appeals. Isaac is accused of attempting to sway public record czar Ginger McCall, which culminated in her resignation last week. Post, whose District 25 also includes Newburgh and rural Marion and Yamhill County residents west of Aurora and Canby, shared in a statement that he is asking, urging, demanding that Isaac's appointment to the bench be rescinded. This comes in light of McCall's claims that Isaac asked her to secretly represent the governor's interests in her role as public records advocate. Post concludes there is far too much controversy now surrounding this appointment, and it is in the best interest for transparency to not go forward. Post clarified he had opposed the bill creating Public Records Advocate in 2017, not because he thought the office was a bad thing, but because it placed the new position within the umbrella of the governor's office. Post said that the Public Records Advocate should have either been placed under the Office of Secretary of State, which has the job of impartially overseeing elections and auditing state government agencies, or it should have been made completely autonomous. Post says he aims to work with other lawmakers this session on new legislation that would redirect the Advocate's office to a more appropriate place.
In sports this week, the Canby Cougars football team took the long drive to South Medford to take on the Panthers, fresh off their 40-13 shellacking of Centennial. The Cougs kept things much closer. After falling behind to the home team 16-0, Canby refused to quit and staged a furious comeback. On the feet of their senior quarterback Andrew Peters and lead running back Wyatt Ramos, the Cougs scored 13 unanswered points before ultimately falling just short of their first win since 2017. They fall to 0-2 on the season, but this young team has nothing to be ashamed of. Their two losses were by a combined margin of just 7 points and have already scored more than half as much in 2 games as they managed all of last season. They'll stay on the road again this week as they face the powerhouse Tigers in their first league matchup. The Tigers so far are 2-0. Canby Volleyball has had an up-and-down start to their season, going 2-3 so far and splitting their 2 league games. Their 2 wins came in their league opener versus Lake Oswego on the road and in a neutral matchup against Forest Grove in the Canby tournament this past Saturday. League play continues for them this week as they take on Tigard at home Tuesday and St. Mary's Academy on the road Thursday. Canby boys soccer has had a tough start to the year under brand new head coach Ryan McCormick. They're 0-2 in 2 non-league matches against Wilson and McNary and were shut out in both games. Their first league match is Tuesday at Lake Ridge, then they'll be back home on Thursday to face Tualatin. The game starts at 7 p.m. Girls soccer has fared better, splitting their first 2 games. The win came in their season opener on the road against Sandy, which the Cougs took 2-0. Their next test will be another non-league matchup Wednesday against Prairie High School in Vancouver. It's their only game this week. Finally, in cross country, the boys and girls teams headed to Clackamas Community College for their annual Three Rivers League preview. Seniors Isabella Tasalik and Jennifer Torres gave spectators a preview they won't soon forget, finishing 2-3 in the crowded field for the 5,000-meter varsity race. Senior Matthew Powell paced the men's team, finishing 8th.
The great outdoors. Sometimes you just gotta get away to a place where life is simpler. The air is clean and the nearest ringing phone is about a million miles away. One of the best places that we found is My Cowboy Cabin near Joseph, Oregon, in the heart of the Eagle Cap Wilderness.
Eagle Cap is the largest unspoiled wilderness area in Oregon, with breathtaking views of granite mountains and crystal clear lakes, and more than 500 miles of trails to explore. It's one of the premier hiking, fishing, and hunting destinations in the Pacific Northwest. My Cowboy Cabin is open from Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day weekend and can be reserved on a weekly or monthly basis, depending on availability. With a cabin that sleeps up to 8 people,
and also a teepee that sleeps 8 or more.
That's right. It's perfect for family vacations, retreats, for unions, and more. Find out more at mycowboycabin.com.
So I'm here with Derek Hill, president of Advantage Mortgage in Canby. I was wondering what's going on in the mortgage industry right now.
The mortgage industry is on fire right now. The big thing that's really exciting for us is that we are now an independent mortgage broker, which means that we can offer substantially lower rates and lower fees for our customers. For example, we just got a loan last week, and the realtor said, hey, I think you should go talk to Derek at Advantage Mortgage. And sure enough, we got the borrower 3/4 better rate, and we saved him $14,000 in fees.
Cool. So where can people find you?
So office number is 503-266-5800, or they can find us on the web at findtheadvantage.com. But most people just give us a holler or they stop in.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, bet. Advantage Mortgage, NMLS number 1770599. Derek Hill's NMLS number 50183. Equal housing opportunity.
Untitled by Tyler Clausen. That's right, Tyler Clausen wrote this. A morning's past glory is faded in fear. This nation, awakened by ruckus, continued to ask what's happening here. in clouds of disillusioned justice. Horror, anger, and tears burn with the dead turn to ember. A day of revivification, ambivalent unification. The 11th of September. Not bad. Little problem with the meter, but not bad. My guests on the Canby Conversation today are Ken and Malinda Buckles. Ken is a retired PE teacher and also a football, wrestling, and track coach, and also the founder and director of Remembering America's Heroes, a nonprofit that we're going to talk about. Melinda is his wife. Thank you guys so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
And also a fantastic singer, from what I hear, Malinda. So we're going to be hopefully hearing some of that later today. But Ken, you are specifically here to talk about a new initiative, a new thing that we're doing to honor and recognize and hopefully create some bridges with our Vietnam veterans.
Yeah, so my history with the Vietnam veterans is I've always known for decades that many of them were treated so poorly when they came home in the 70s. And there was even a book written on it called The Homecoming in 88 that, it's sad. But I was always trying to get veterans to come talk to the high school kids, and it was easy getting the World War II in Korea, and even the 4 World War I vets back in the 90s who are no longer here. But the Vietnam vets, it was a huge challenge, and the majority of them say, I just don't go there anymore. It just wasn't worth it. When I came back home, I just don't. And they'd say thank you and hang up. And so it's always been an issue, but it was something that happened this summer that led to this cause.
Yeah, I want to hear that story, but let's just talk, because maybe like some of our younger listeners who didn't live through Vietnam, like they don't realize, and maybe you hear that in your work with Remembering America's Heroes and talking to high school kids, don't realize the homecoming, if you want to call it that, but the not even just indifference, but like they were spit on, they were called all sorts of names, they were rejected in all kinds of different ways. I mean, you probably heard some crazy stories.
Absolutely. Well, we started in Canby. Let's call it a Canby Vietnam Veteran Apology, and we're hoping that it will be declared that for this coming Veterans Day, November 11th. And the community of Canby is jumping on board everywhere we go, and it's really exciting. But what we've set up a canopy tent and T-shirts, and tried to spread the cause at 2 events, and we are again tomorrow at Cussforth's Cruise-In. But what your answer to your question, it's been shocking of not just young people, teenagers, but adults in their 40s and 50s who said, I had no idea. Yeah. And we've, so it's been like teaching lessons at our tent. And the other one was the number of Vietnam vets who come up, and several of them who start crying. We've had wives of Vietnam vets approach saying, my husband's over there, but he just can't come here. It's too emotional for him. And then what happened at the Slice of Summer, Malinda was trying to flag me down. You tell what happened.
Well, there was a veteran that just stood there. He stood there for quite a while, and I asked him, may I help you? I said, are you okay? And then he just started crying. The tears just started coming. And he said, I was in Vietnam. I would never believe that this would happen. Is this for real? And I said, oh, it's for real. We want to make it better for you. And he says, but, okay, so are people going to wear these shirts? I mean, is it for real? And at that point, I said, of course it's for real. I know what you went through, and probably still going through it, because you don't tell anybody you were in the Vietnam War, right? And he said, right, he didn't. And then he just really started crying, so I called Ken over to talk to him at that point. Because it's something that when they see the T-shirt, it's so much healing in just saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Of course, we didn't do it, but somebody,
Yeah.
they're still holding that pain today.
It's very easy. We live in such a saturated culture, right? Like there's, you can turn on the TV and there's like a million shows on Netflix, and there's just all this stuff that you can read anything, you can research, you can find any blog on any subject and anything. We're just inundated with all kinds of words. And I think that it causes us to minimize the impact that certain words and certain sentiments can have. And we get a little desensitized to it. I had the opportunity this past March for Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day to be part of a ceremony that was honoring to sort of a similar sentiment. I would think the apology is very powerful. So this is more another word that they weren't, they didn't get that welcome. So that's what that event is about. And I was floored by the impact that it had on a few of what you would presume just kind of these buttoned up, military men, like tough guys, some of them literally in their leather jackets and their biker jackets and things, and breaking down because of just the simple that in this case the state government and state officials were there to say welcome home, and that thank you for your service. Like it's unbelievable.
I'd like to respond to that because when I'm first trying to spread the awareness on this, I said I personally do not feel I can say welcome home because I didn't do it in the 70s.
Yeah.
They invented the saying welcome home, and they use it to each other. And if you ever get two Vietnam vets who don't know each other together, they will both say welcome home to each other. And then the other one... I
didn't realize that story. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and the other one is thank you for your service. Right. A lot of them say, well, it's just a bandwagon statement nowadays, and so many people, they just do it real fast. Thank you for your service, and they leave, and they say it's not sincere. Yeah. So I said, we need to do something that's never been done. And it came from the idea of the New Zealand Vietnam veteran.
Yeah, tell that story.
Well, we had gone out to dinner, met our grandkids and daughter at a restaurant in Clackamas area, and at a table was a gentleman with a Vietnam vet hat on, and he took it off and set it on the table when he ate. And I always go up to them and start chatting. I don't say welcome home or thank you, sir. I like to break the ice by then I like to say that. And I said, well, I'm really sorry for how you were treated, and it really means a lot to him. Well, when I went over to chat to him, he had an accent, and I said, where are you from? And he said, I'm from New Zealand. He said, we had troops in Vietnam, and so did the Aussies. We had your Yanks back.
Yeah.
And I laughed, and I said, I'm a history nut. I said, I had no idea. I said, I never knew that. He goes,
yeah. I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, so we had a great conversation. South Korea had troops there, too. We were having this great conversations, but at the end I said, well, you probably weren't treated like our guys were.
Right. I would have seen the same.
Yeah, I would have. He said, the heck he used a cuss word, the heck we weren't. He says, I was spit on when we landed in New Zealand, and Aussies were treated bad, and it was horrible. And he got tears in his eyes, and he says, but I got to tell you what our country did in 2008. They had a National Vietnam Veteran Apology Day, and he said it was the most powerful, emotional, healing day. He said we were all bawling like babies.
Yeah.
He said it meant so much for our country to say, we're sorry. And I said, gosh, what if we started that here in the United States? And he just laughed.
Yeah.
He said, you Yanks are too self-centered. You'll never do it. And then I woke up in the middle of the night in July, and it came to me. I said, we're going to start it. I know Canby will jump all over it. We're going to start it in Canby. If it spreads, so be it. If it doesn't spread, so be it. But we're going to do it in Canby. And like I said, the momentum it's amazing. It's happening.
Yeah.
There was another story. You called the Vietnam vet and shared about this, and he shared with you what had just happened to him.
That was.
Did you tell that?
This happened within a week after the New Zealand example. So I have veterans who say you need to call this veteran and talk to him, and you need to connect with him, and so I had an Iraq-Afghanistan vet said, hey, this guy's a great guy. He was a Green Beret, and then he did mercenary work for other countries, and there should be a book or movie on him. So I called him, and I had a really nice chat, and then I said at the end, I said, well, I just want to say I'm sorry for how you guys were treated back in the 70s. And he said, oh, man. He goes, it's still happening today. And I went, what? And he said, I was just sitting in my living room looking out the window, and a 20-something man walked by and saw my pickup truck with a Vietnam patch vet sticker on the bumper, and he walked up to my driver's side door and he spit on the handle. And he said, now you would think that I would jump out and open the door and scream at him or do something stupid. He said, it triggered pain. He said, I sat there hurt all over again. I'm 75 years old and it's 2019. And I was like, oh gosh. You know, it's just, it's a sad chapter, and I feel if we don't, there's never any closure unless you can try. If you've been wronged, we need to apologize. And I'm so excited and proud that Canby is the number of businesses and people heavily involved in the community. It's exciting.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. I can't believe that that's still happening today. That's crazy. Yeah. You said that happened.
That happened in the month of June.
Yeah. Oh, here in Oregon.
He told me, here in Portland, Oregon. He said it happened the end of June, because I was talking to him in July, and I met that. I think I met that New Zealand veteran the end of June too, and heard his story.
Yeah.
And that's when it was a couple days after hearing both of them that I said, "Wow, let's do something in Canby." Yeah, and the number one word is Malinda's seen many times too, and the other night is with the veterans. This has been healing.
Yeah,
it's been very healing for all of them, and we absolutely know on the 2 times we've set up our canopy tent and tried to, ask people to buy one of these T-shirts and join the cause. We already know we've healed some. We've seen it. That guy, when he left, he gave me a hug and he said, God bless you guys. God bless you. This was amazing. I never thought I would live to see this. And so to me, it's like, okay, it's worth it.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was a lady that came by. Her father was in the Vietnam War, and he's just kind of quiet, hardly ever talk about it at all. So she brought a T-shirt, and she said, I cannot wait. I'm going to see him this week, and I'm wearing this shirt in the house. I'm not there to see what happens, but I can imagine if he saw that T-shirt and read what it said, how much healing and joy that would give to him coming from his daughter.
Sure.
So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, there is incredible healing just in being validated that in your pain. You're not crazy. You were hurt. You were wronged.
Right.
And to have that from folks who aren't family or don't owe them anything, just someone that we owe them, So that's really cool. So the goal is for all of Canby to wear these shirts, right? For like all the different businesses for that one day, for Veterans Day, November 11th, to try and get as many folks as we can wearing these I'm Sorry Vietnam Veterans shirts, right?
Yeah, so we've got about 17 Canby businesses right now. Well, I include the Canby High football team because they're going to too. And our goal is to get them, and they're all in. They say we'll get T-shirts, put our employees in them, and wear them on that day. But we're also to spread the cause. We're going to go the month of September and take pictures with them and have them take pictures too. And everybody can post it on social media so that people will see, look what's happening in Canby. Look what these businesses are. And then last year was the very first Veterans Day ceremony under the helicopter, Vietnam helicopter.
At the Vietnam Memorial.
Yeah, and it was amazing. They had a great turnout, and they're expecting it to double. I just think it would be so cool if tons of civilians wore those. It's not... it's not a massive moneymaker. We're not trying to make money off it. It's to spread the cause.
Right.
And veterans, what was really one of our very good friends was in the Korean War, and he was first Purple Heart at 16 years of age, Bill Chisholm, and he was at the Chosin Reservoir in North Korea in 1950.
Yeah.
And he got the first shirt. He said, what's this all about? And I started telling him, and he interrupted me. He goes, I'm buying the first shirt. And he's come to a couple events and wears it, and he wears his hat, the chosen few. And veterans know about the chosen few,
Right.
it's Chosin Reservoir.
Right.
And they come up and go, were you really there?
Yeah.
And then they see him, I say, yeah, if I can get other veterans from different eras to wear this, because all the veterans know.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
But,
well, we talk a lot about, you mentioned the words like thank you for your service and whatnot, like that's what Veterans Day is all about, thank you, veteran. But something like this, if you have someone in your life who's carried pain, trauma for decades from experience that they had where they weren't thanked, they weren't welcomed home, the ability by something as simple as a few words or wearing a shirt to be able to turn that around for someone. I mean, what could be a more incredible gift than that? That's pretty special. So thank you guys
agree
for
100%.
making that possible. Cool. So where can folks find the shirts if they want to be part
Well, they
of
can
this?
go to a website, www.rahusa.us.
Right.
RAH stands for Remembering America's Heroes. We'll be at the Cruise Inn tomorrow, Saturday the 24th, which is my 65th birthday.
Congratulations.
Cutsford Thriftway is going to sell them in the store, and we'll probably do that after Labor Day, have them in there. And then people are going to see pictures being taken in Business Month, September, so that's going to generate interest. So people will have an opportunity to get one and join the cause. We're really happy and excited about it. Like I said, if we can heal, the more vets we can give a little bit of healing and love towards, that's what life's all about, especially in these crazy times. We need more love and compassion and empathy.
That's right.
I agree with that. Cool. Well, love, definitely a good place to end. Anything to add there, Malinda?
I'm going to sing.
Oh, yeah. You are going to sing.
Yes, and I'm trying to see how that would fit in with this.
Well, Frank Buckles was America's last living World War I vet, and he died at 110 years of age in 2011. And he was an amazing man. He was also a civilian who helped smuggle supplies in the Philippines until he was captured by the Japanese, so he was a prisoner of war of the Japanese. He was very supportive of all veteran things, and for the last 2 years, Malinda sang the #1 song, 1917, 1918, over there, so it is just over the 100th anniversary, and a ton of the senior citizens love this song, but if you hear the lyrics and compare, I don't think it would be a popular song today. You hear the lyrics, it's something else, but it galvanized the nation, and it was Uncle Frank's favorite song. So he had two favorite songs: the French national anthem and "Over There."
Okay.
That's where "Over There" come in at.
Yeah, you're gonna do "Over There" and not the French national.
Not the French national, no.
Go.
Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hear them calling you and me, every son of liberty. Hurry right away, no delay, go today. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Tell your sweetheart not to pine, to be proud her boys in line. Over there, over there. Send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. The drums rum-tumming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there.
Wow, that was great. Thank you so much. I can't see what you were saying as far as maybe those lyrics not holding up, being timeless, but that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Malinda. Now Ken was going to sing the French national anthem. I don't know.
That's right.
I remember him singing it in the movie Casablanca.
Oh, there you go. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show and telling us about this, and we'll do what we can to support it and be part of it. So.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Are you a small business owner or maybe thinking of investing in yourself with your very own startup? Awesome! Now all you have to do is reach potential customers at a time when consumers have never been more fragmented, more distracted, or more difficult to reach. If that sounds hard, believe me, it is. That's why I make Frankie do it.
Carrie and her team at Promotional Strategies offer strategic, purposeful solutions to build your brand with lasting promotional items that make sense for you and your company. They are creative geniuses who will deliver advertisements that people actually thank you for and will use every day. We've tried other sellers, and we trust Carrie to provide high-quality branded items that we can be proud of. Find them at 695 Southeast 1st Avenue in Canby or online at ps266swag.com.
The Canby Now podcast and Now Here the Studios would like to thank Ryan David Dwyer for composing the intro music for our new limited series podcast, The Other Side. Ryan is a local composer, songwriter, and budding music producer interested in a variety of contract jobs. He also loves to teach people how to play the piano without sheet music, so they can just start channeling and experiencing their inner creativity. Give his website a look at harpaziomusic.com. That's HARPAZIO music.com.
may be fading in the minds of many Americans. But for those of us who spend our lives in the service of others, be it in the fire service, law enforcement, military, in the military, memories of the terrorist attacks remain fresh. Many police officers, firefighters, paramedics are still suffering and are losing their lives from the residual effects of September 11th, 2001. The brave members of our military do not have to be reminded as they are continuing to fight the extreme terrorist groups around the nation. The men and women of CFD remember the 343 New York City firefighters and paramedics killed that day while rushing into a new building as everyone else was rushing out. We remember the 23 New York City police officers, the 37 Port Authority police officers killed. We remember the 125 civilian and military personnel killed at the Pentagon. And we remember the nearly 3,000 civilians who perished in the towers and the people on the airliners that crashed that day. There is a very distinct feeling you get as a firefighter just a few times in your career, be it the feeling of arriving at the scene of an incident and your sixth sense telling you that this one is going to be dangerous for you and you may not come home. I have no doubt that the men and women who responded to the World Trade Center that day had that same feeling as they got off their apparatus and got out of their patrol cars. On the day we gather, remember we should also pledge to serve in whatever meaningful way we can. For in service, we can find resiliency. The section of the fallen World Trade Center that stands in front of the fire station, here in memory and tribute of a horrible day, is a symbol of resiliency. It is a reminder that the Americans will remember, rebuild, and continue to serve their country in times of need and in times of crisis. I pray that one nation under God, that we treat others how we want to be treated and know that we can make a difference and that we understand and treat others with dignity and respect. Canby Fire Department, Canby Police Department will continue to serve, to be there when you are called, and to never forget the ultimate sacrifices that day on September 11th, 2001.
The intended devastation of the event and the wishful intent of evil people, was that the foundation of America would fail. So what has been done to overcome that plan? What have we done to communicate the resiliency that defines our nation? What have we done to replace the intended terror with a resounding message of hope and multinational unity and togetherness, while still honoring those who died as a result of 9/11 attacks and the 1993 World Trade Center bombing? And we must not forget about the ongoing effects of these events as they continue to have a toll on the health of first responders and volunteers on that day. While there is no clear path to healing for those who survived or mourn the events of that day, today I can say that I am thankful for the many 9/11 memorials throughout the world. So if you didn't know, there are more than 1,175 memorial locations worldwide. This is a testament to the global impact of 9/11 and the different ways in which individuals and communities continue to commemorate victims. One such memorial that you are aware of is a memorial named the Freedom Tower, which is part of the One World Trade Center in New York that was built on the site where the Twin Towers once stood. Also located at this site is the September 11 Museum. Since the opening of the Freedom Tower, more than 37 million visitors have seen the memorial, and more than 10.9 million visitors have seen the museum. Its collection includes more than 40,000 images, 18,000 artifacts, more than 3,500 oral recordings, and over 500 hours of video. In part, these memorials sites and the images displayed there help keep the memory of this event alive. The Freedom Tower is a symbol that is designed to create a new perspective and understanding for all people in communicating a message of multicultural peace. It's a symbol in part which the mission statement reads, "May the lives remembered, the deeds recognized, and the spirit awakened be eternal beacons, which affirm respect for life, strengthen our resolve to preserve freedom, and inspire and end the hatred, ignorance, and intolerance." I think we can all be pleased that the city of Canby, our community, has such a memorial site. As I reflect back to the events of 9/11, I can say things are different. While we continue to heal, we are keeping the memory alive. We are educating and honoring those who lost their lives through the many memorials. Just like the Freedom Tower, our memorial site is more than a way to simply honor those who died. We have the privilege and honor to communicate the mission statement to all who pass by this location. 18 years later, we continue to gather together, united in our purpose, as compared to a time when we were once not so much united.
Each year we gather as a community to never forget the horrific events, the lives lost, the bravery, and the emotions in the weeks and months that followed this tragic event. The idea, the concept of the World Trade Center began post-World War II in 1942, and planning efforts increased after the war. This urban renewal project in New York City was launched to keep Lower Manhattan as the nation's financial center. Construction began in August of 1968 for the North Tower. The South Tower began in 1969. The buildings were dedicated on April 4th, 1973. When completed, the Twin Towers would be the first and second tallest buildings in the world. It cost nearly $1 billion to build. It contained over 10 million square feet of office and retail space. Be the home to over 450 businesses from 28 different countries. And an estimated 50,000 people worked in the towers every day around 9/11. What took 40 years to plan and 5 years to build was brought down in a matter of hours. Those employed there and visiting
that died totaled 2,606 towers. Firefighters that raced toward a fiery hell that died that day totaled 343. Law enforcement officers killed were 71. Many first responders are still dealing with the effects of this day.
The manpower was unprecedented and the losses on this day were staggering. 75 firehouses lost at least one member, fighting a blaze that reached 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, with smoke that burned for weeks and could be seen from space. From the time it was designed, the World Trade Center was a feat of engineering. Each wall unit served as a load-bearing wall with steel panels that weighed 22 tons that formed the outer supports for the structure, and its central core gave it its strength from within. The Twin Towers should not have been a candidate for collapse. Those firefighters rushed into buildings that should not have collapsed. But the massive structures would be no match for the clock that had already started ticking years ago, counting down to this beautiful morning in September when so many innocent lives would be lost and so many heroes would not return home at the end of shift. Here in Oregon and in New York City, September 11th was a glorious fall morning. Blue skies, perfect weather. Like most days in the city, thousands of people were making their way to the World Trade Center. It was a hub of activity. But at 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed. 10:28, the North Tower had collapsed. And when those towers fell, the world changed. There would be no going back. Standing in the gap were thousands of first responders who saved thousands of lives. And in the years since, they have been honored on this day by a grateful nation. In the aftermath, in the efforts to find one last survivor and recover the thousands unaccounted for, first responders painstakingly worked the pile, exposing themselves to air, dust, and debris that likely meant breathing asbestos, burning jet fuel, computer parts, pulverized concrete, anything and everything that you would find within a city that was the World Trade Center was turned to dust. But that was not the end of the story. Following 9/11, the losses continued. 18 years out, nearly 10,000 first responders and others who were in the World Trade Center area have since been diagnosed with cancer. In 2017, 23 current or former members of the New York City Police Department have died of 9/11-related diseases. The fire department lost a stunning 343 members that day, and as of 2018, line-of-duty deaths that were linked directly to 9/11 approached 180. I share this today because we tell stories of loss and hope. We talk of bravery and honor, valor and service. But equally important is always that we act. Always. To continue to support the victims and families of 9/11 and to remember the first responders whose service and sacrifice at Ground Zero continues to this day. As the long shadows of the towers fall onto their lives and onto the lives of their families in ways that they could not have predicted, but that we must not forget today or in the years to come. For those first responders whose service and sacrifice has not yet found its place in the history books, whose moments are not yet recounted with precision, your work protects and serves the greater good each and every day, and we owe you a debt of gratitude. With so many challenges, so much rancor, sometimes so much fracture, our lives, the fabric of our community, the strength of our families depends on moments like these, when we come together to mourn collectively, but also to honor and acknowledge our shared values, our highest ideals, and most of all, to renew our personal commitment to never forget.
Men and women of today's fire service are confronted with a more dangerous work environment than ever before. We are forced to continually change our strategy and tactics to accomplish our tasks. Our methods may change, but our goals remain the same as they were in the past: to save lives and protect property, and sometimes at a terrible cost. This is what we do, and this is our chosen profession, and this is the tradition of the firefighter. The fire service of today is ever-changing, but it's steeped in tradition, 200 years old, and one such tradition is the sound of the bell. In the past, a firefighter began their tour of duty and it was the bell that signaled the beginning of the day shift. Throughout the day and night, each alarm sounded by the bell, which summoned these brave souls to fight fires and place their lives in jeopardy for the good of the fellow citizen. And when the fire was out and the alarm had come to an end, it was the bell that signaled the completion of that call. When a firefighter had died in the line of duty, paying the supreme sacrifice, it was the mournful toll of the bell that solemnly announced a comrade's passing. We utilize these traditions as symbols, which reflect honor and respect on those who gave so much and who served so well. To symbolize the devotion that these brave souls had for their duty, a special signal of 3 rings, 3 times each, representing the end of our comrades' duties, and that they will be returned to their quarters. And so, to those who have selflessly given their lives for the good of their fellow man and women, their task completed, their duties well done, and to our comrades, their last alarm, they are going home.
It's just me, Tyler Clausen, doing a soapbox all by myself. Frankie's letting me run wild in the studio. I'm joking. That would be super boring, and nobody would want to listen to that. So we've gone ahead and pulled Joy in with me. Joy, say hello.
Hello, Canby.
And that's our intro. That's the whole intro. It kind of gets quiet and awkward after that little intro music stops.
A little bit.
But I try and plan it out so it's kind of funny. Joy, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, and I've heard you say it several times while we've been in the studio. How do I pronounce it?
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
It's Struby.
Struby.
Yes, I actually had a German roommate in college who told me I have been saying my German last name wrong my whole life.
Yeah?
Every time I tried to repeat what she was saying, she told me I was wrong.
Right.
So
right.
I say my name as best as I know how. Struby.
That's the best last name idea. Like, I say my last name as best I can. I don't even know if I'm getting it right. That's awesome. Joy's helping us out in the studio, and we're going to talk about that today. You guys have already heard her voice talking about the super important things that are happening around Canby. Because none of your stories actually pertain to Canby, have they?
No.
No?
No.
It's great. I love it. We'll probably have someone complain about how we're talking about things outside of Canby.
Yeah. You win some, you lose some. I don't know what to say there, but
this is the first time that you and I have actually sat down and talked. I think we've maybe traded one Facebook message before this. You've mostly been talking to Frankie, and there is a reason why Frankie's not here. He literally today as you and I sat down to record this episode, he was going to help out. He was going to be here for this soapbox. He did his one story, he did his sports, and then he got a call from his wife who said, I think my water broke. So he was out. So Frankie is currently having a child. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how. What do you say for a dude?
Good for you.
No, like, because really the woman is having the child.
Yeah, but I mean,
Frankie's doing something. He's supporting his wife.
they're working together to bring and welcome a human into this world.
There you go. Yeah. So, Joy, why don't you tell me and all of Canby a little bit about yourself? Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. Her eyes just lit up. She's like, where do I start?
I grew up in California, but I've been in the Northwest for the past 10 years.
Okay.
I love the Northwest. Claim it as home now because I've been here all my adult life. So all the time I've had a say in the matter, I've been in the Northwest. So I like to claim it.
Yeah.
Love hiking, outdoors, good beer, podcasts. Is it
Yeah.
okay to say that I like beer?
Yes.
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. I didn't know. Public
Frankie
podcast.
has actively talked about how much he loves beer on the show.
Perfect. Podcasts, good books, just meeting new people.
Yeah.
I work at the Foursquare Church and also have another job working at addressing income inequality in partnership with the county.
Yeah.
And just love being involved in all the great stuff that's happening in Canby.
Great. That's cool. Well, I have enough information now to set up your online dating profile, so I'll go ahead and start doing that while we record.
Perfect. That was the goal. Glad you picked up on that.
Likes moonlit walks on the beach.
Open to interpretation.
I'm faux, typing like they're gonna see that joke. It's dumb. Well, that's great. How long have you lived in Canby?
I have lived here for 6 years. Oh, math. I moved here in 2013.
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, you're on the right track. Yeah, that's awesome. And you've been working at the Foursquare Church the whole time. Is that what brought you to Canby? Is the church?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. So interned there for 2 years and then came on staff doing community engagement. So basically finding ways we can love and serve our community.
Yeah. Nice. That's very cool. Yeah. I growing up, I would go to youth group at the Bethany Church.
Oh yeah.
And so there was, it wasn't like it wasn't like West Side Story rivalry, but there was kind of a rivalry between Bethany Youth Group and Foursquare Youth Group when I was in high school. But I was a really good friend. And in fact, I started going to their youth group because I was such a Christian little boy that I 2 days a week wasn't enough church for me. So I went to youth group on Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, and Sunday mornings. And I played on worship band on Sunday nights. So,
That is some determination for some church.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it was pretty fun. So... What have you listened to our show at all?
Yes.
Yeah? What's like your favorite thing about our show?
I love the way it zeroes people in on what's happening in Canby while also maintaining that NPR style of
NPR.
Yes, expanding the conversation. I love NPR.
Yeah.
Fresh Air, A1, no, 1A.
All right. I listened to a little bit of NPR when I first started doing the show. I listened to it at 5 o'clock in the morning while I was driving to work. So I listened to it. I got a feel for everything, but couldn't tell you anything about it because I was basically half asleep.
At 5 in the morning, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I like the smooth, chill talk style. I think people who probably listen to our show might get that from me a little bit because I like to just talk. And Frankie doesn't let me do that very often. That's why there's
Now's your chance.
Yeah, that's why there's all these weird, silent, awkward moments because Frankie's not interrupting me and talking over me. It's so weird. And we don't have a plan for the soapbox. I just want to introduce you. People, I'm sure, are like, "Who's this weird lady talking?"
That's me.
Yeah. So that I don't have to do any more work, you need to ask me a question. Maybe something that the people of Canby need to know about me.
What are you passionate about, Tyler Clausen?
Well, I'm podcasting, obviously. I do that weekly.
Okay, then. Better question.
My church has turned into not that I'm not a churchgoer. I do love Jesus and go to church, but I like the passion that I had for youth group has turned into podcasting. So now I do it every Wednesday and Sunday, and then it's not enough. So I have another podcast that I do with another friend of mine. We're getting ready to release, actually today, the day of release. So Monday today, not today, the actual day of recording. My other show is dropping all five of the first episodes. So all of them are available. So that's exciting. If you guys want to check it out, Lewis and Lovecraft, just type that in somewhere. I'm sure it'll pop up. I don't know where I'm sure we're on Instagram and stuff. I'm not in charge of that. I just produce, yeah. And then I hang out with other people who are like, oh, you have a studio now. Let's record a podcast. It's like, all right, let's do it. I love it. I love sitting down, talking, interviewing, getting to know people. It's my favorite thing. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One more question for you.
Okay.
If you could use any animal as a transportation device, what would it be?
Oh, man. Ooh. So this is kind of eerie because for my other podcast, I've been reading the Animorphs series. Oh. I don't know if you've ever read that one. Yeah. It came out in 1994 through 99, I think. And my wife and I, we were talking about what animal we would turn into if we could turn into one animal and still retain our human intelligence. And there was a lot of back and forth, and I think my answer remains the same for this one. It'd be a gorilla. Because, first of all, if I could turn into one, it'd be a gorilla. That'd be the coolest animal ever. But also, if I could ride to the back of a gorilla through traffic, like, who's going to stop me, right?
No one would stop you.
Exactly.
You might get thrown off, but no one's going to stop you.
Not if I got, like, a cool gorilla harness. like a baby. Like, you know how a baby has the back.
Like the Moby wrap.
Exactly. Just that, with me curled up in the comforting chest of my gorilla transport.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Have you thought about the answer to this before? Do you have an answer for that?
Yes, a bear.
Oh, okay. Probably for kind of the close to the same reasons, right?
Yeah. No one's going to stop you. Also, really soft coat.
Yeah.
Vicious but protective at the same time.
Yeah, if it loves you, you are the most important thing to it. Genius. So we need to start riding bears and gorillas to work.
Perfect. It's a plan.
This might be the shortest soapbox we've ever done. Frankie and I are always concerned about time, and our soapboxes always end up being almost on a dot every single time. They're about 22 minutes, right?
That's a big soapbox.
Yeah, well, Canby has a lot going on. So True. Right now we're sitting at 10 minutes of record time for the soapbox. Let's talk about Canby. What's going on in Canby that we can talk about? I haven't even read my news story for the day. The mayor of Aurora resigned. I don't know, something about that. I remember Frankie reading that one. That's all I got. I don't pay attention to the news, which is bad for a news podcast guy.
Yeah, and it's hard because Canby News isn't exactly what the other stations, I don't turn on BBC in the morning and then Canby.
Yeah.
Town of 17,000. Here's what happened.
Unless it's something really big. We've ended up on the news before, right?
Yeah.
What's one of your favorite stories that we've done? Like, what's one of the big things that you've enjoyed watching Canby Now podcast just dive right into?
I really I know this is last episode, so that feels like kind of a cop-out.
A little bit.
I really liked this segment on the Canby Pioneer Chapel. And I live right by there, walk by there all the time, but had actually gone there for the first time last Thursday, for the first Thursday.
Right.
And just went inside. It is a beautiful, amazing space. And then getting to hear a little bit more on the podcast about the background and their heart and their passion. It was a beautiful segment.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty cool. That is a little bit of a cop-out, though.
Sorry, I'm a new listener. I'll be honest.
I've really enjoyed. Oh man, there's a lot that I think, and I think I talked about this before on one of our older episodes of like, I don't know if more has started happening in Canby since we started the podcast, or if I'm just more aware of it because of the podcast. But I feel like there's a lot happening in Canby, specifically in the last year, like with the Dahlia going up and opening and nobody moving in. But now, like, people are actually, it's starting to get some stuff, which is super exciting to see businesses and people moving in. With Frankie's favorite thing, the Project Shakespeare, that turned out to be the Columbia Beverage, and them going in. I think it's interesting how all these big projects are happening. So it's pretty fun. I think my favorite thing was the Ren Fair, though. I don't know if we did enough coverage on it, because I don't think you can do enough coverage on a Renaissance festival. Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. I didn't go, but it seemed incredible.
Have you been to a Ren Fair before?
I have not.
Oh man, it's so cool.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing out.
See people dressed up. You could dress up if you want. I don't, because I look ridiculous in a leather vest. I look ridiculous in anything leather. I don't think leather anything looks good on my body, so I avoid having to make other people see that. But other people fighting with swords, all that, it's super fun. I don't know why that's what came to my head, but that I'm still ruminating about the Ren Fair 2 months later.
Shows it was a good fair.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else that you want to chat about? Anything else you want to let Canby know of Joy Struby? I said it right?
Good job.
Yes, thank you very much. I am notorious for getting people's names wrong, so it's kind of a big deal. Do you have anything else you want to share with Canby so that they can identify with you as you read stories?
I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to be working with the two Tylers. They asked me to change my name to Tyler for this, but I refused.
Well, negotiations are still open, but we'll.
Yeah, I'm not being a team player so far on this one. But other than that, I'm really excited to work with you both and Canby to get to know you better and share and learn alongside each other.
Yeah. If you guys want to just let us know how you feel Joy's doing, feel free to let us know on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Canby Now. And let us know if you guys have any opinions on anything, which you're Canby, so you will. Of course you will.
Yep.
And we love that about you. So up next is absolutely nothing. I don't know. Hold on. Run sheet. Absolutely nothing. We're going to go to a break, and then, So, thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Thanks.
Hey, Tyler, did you know that the world has changed in the past 20 years?
No way!
Yep, it's true. The way people shop for goods and services has completely changed since this thing called the internet started catching on.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And yet some realtors still offer the same old services in the same old ways and for the same old percentages. Victory Point Property Group in Canby believes it's time the real estate business caught up with the times. They'll meet with you for free, explain every step of the process, give you a clear game plan, and even let you choose the listing commission.
Really? They let you choose their commission?
Really, Victory Point Property Group understands this is one of the biggest and most exciting decisions of your life, and they'll do everything they can to make sure you handle it like a rock star.
Wow, that sounds great. I'm going to check them out by calling 503-263-4700 or by visiting online at victorypointhomes.com.
You do that. Victory Point Property Group, real estate reimagined. You know, Halloween will be here before you know it. Heck, the decorations are already in the stores. So I've got a scary good deal for you. DirectLink is offering 50% off their blazing fast internet speeds now through All Hallows Eve. Not only will you get a sweet candy corn of a deal, but every one of their broadband connections comes with unlimited data, free, and that's no trick. So switch to DirectLink to stream and surf as much as you like. Plus, take advantage of free Wi-Fi home networking for 6 months with free installation of commercial-grade Wi-Fi equipment that ensures your entire home has the strongest, most consistent signal in every room. Talk about a treat. Call 503-266-8111 or visit directlink.coop for blazing fast internet.
The Canby Now podcast is a production of Now Hear This Studios, Canby's locally owned full-service audio, video, and media production company. Our mission is to produce the best content in the universe, and we'd love to help you do it. Find us online at nhtstudios.com.
Canby Now podcast is dedicated to preserving independent local journalism and redefining local news with our fun, fresh, and energetic brand of storytelling. Our sincere thanks to our local sponsors who make this show possible. Please show your appreciation by supporting the small businesses who support us.
Huge thank you as well to our supporters on Patreon. We rely on your monthly contributions to continue to do this work that we seriously love. For information on how you can become one of the coolest people in the world, a patron of the Canby Now podcast, visit cambynowpod.com/plus.